Doctor Who. Well, I'm not really a big Doctor Who fan. I used to watch the classic series a bit with Tom Baker, Peter Davidson, and like the first episode of the Sylvester McCoy actor. And somehow I remember those actors' names. That's when I was in high school. I used to see it on PBS. I think it was maybe Saturday night. It used to come on, and they'd string together a bunch of 30-minute episodes, and I'd watch it. I thought the premise for the show was interesting. Special effects were really lame. Um, Tom Baker's kind of half crazy, eccentric sort of character was interesting, and I'd seen an episode that had some interesting concepts to it, and I like science fiction, and so I used to watch Doctor Who, even though I'm American. It came on PBS, so I'd heard of it before the new series or whatever they call it came out. Haven't really followed all of the new series. I did see. I may have seen the Christopher Eccleston, the new Doctor Who that had come out, and then David Tennant, and I believe it was Matt Smith. So I'd seen some of their episodes, but I was watching, and I haven't seen everything, and I haven't seen the other. I can't remember the guy's name with the gray hair. I don't know how I remember all this stuff, but anyway, the names of actors, I don't usually remember that stuff. But anyway, I was watching a David Tennant episode, and he sets up two guys for a relationship. He introduces two gay guys, and I was just watching this, and they have a. This used to be a show for kids, and then they got to have this politically correct kind of so-called thing where they have gay characters, and then he's supposed to be the protagonist, and he's setting up two gay characters, and they're just trying to promote this philosophy that homosexual behavior is normal and it's just like any other relationship. And that's kind of the new morality when it comes to sexuality. That, it used to be that people believed that certain sexual activities were wrong and that there's marriage is between a man and a woman, or many people believe that, and that was acceptable standards of society. And now, with this new morality, it's kind of changed. Now it's immoral to think that way, and people think that you're bad if you believe that way, and that you have to appreciate the philosophy of the homosexual agenda that or the LGBT agenda that treats homosexual behavior between a man and a woman is the same. I mean, between a man and a man or a woman and a woman is the same as a relationship between a man and a woman. And they've redefined the word marriage to include men with men and women with women, which makes absolutely no sense. Since what does the law have to do with that? Why would the law be involved? Men and women produce children, and there's a reason to have that recorded in the law somehow and to recognize marriage from the purposes of managing the state. Okay, so now the question I'm wanting to address is, like I said, I haven't been watching Doctor Who, but I did see some little clip on the site in YouTube that said that there was the new Doctor Who, so I clicked on it, and there's a female Doctor Who. Well, I've seen some little clips of Doctor Who here and then. Again, I guess I've seen some, and they pop up on my, not Facebook, YouTube. I think I said Facebook a while ago. Up on YouTube, if I use YouTube. So every once in a while, I get a Doctor Who clip, and I look at it. And, I've seen a clip where Doctor Who zaps some guard or general, and then with a gun, and then he comes back as a woman. Well, now they've got Doctor Who. He gets zapped or whatever. I don't know how he dies at the end of the episode, but he comes back as a woman. Well, okay, I don't care that there's a woman that is a Doctor Who. I mean, I don't care if there's a woman that gets a iconic role, that gets a job in the entertainment industry. Hey, that's great. That's wonderful. But let's think about the implications about this. Doesn't this kind of promote transgendered and bisexuality? And you may say, well, what's wrong with promoting transgendered and bisexuality? Well, transgendered people tend to commit suicide at a higher rate than people who are not transgendered, especially if they go all the way through with the operation. And I don't know, I read a website that said the suicide rate was over 40% for people who went through with a total, overhaul operation. I don't know if that's accurate or not. It was on a web page, but apparently the suicide rates are much higher. Now, you could say that's just because society is bad for rejecting people who have transgender operations. Or we could recognize that either going through the transgendered process has a bad effect on people, or possibly that the type of people who go through the transgender process, especially if they go all the way through, maybe they're mentally unstable, and maybe the operation contributes to the mental instability. Maybe it's not mentally unstable. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm not a psychologist. Anyway, but there could be some sort of emotional or mental factors involved in wanting to go through a transgender operation, going through it, and their mental and emotional health. So, what's my point in saying that? I'm sure a lot of these people are tortured souls, and we can have compassion for them. But it's not helpful to tell somebody that is a man you're a woman, or to tell a woman you're a man. Uh, if somebody thinks if I thought I was a tiger or a cat and I wanted to have surgery to make myself look like a tiger, and actually there is some guy I've seen, I believe it was on Rick, please believe it or not, has had tattoos, tooth stuff done, body modifications, so that he'll look like a tiger. Well, if I had a friend who wanted to make himself look like a tiger, he thought that internally he was really a tiger, and he wanted that to be externalized through a series of painful surgeries and tattoos, I would tell him in maybe a more gentle way that that's stupid, that something's wrong with your head, man, that's not good for you, okay, or something like that. I wouldn't say, hey, man, whatever you want to do, dude. Hey, it's your life and it's your body. If this guy is my friend, why would I do something like that? I want to talk him out of doing something stupid and crazy because he's my friend. That's what a good friend does. If you're about to jump off the bridge, they don't say, hey, man, it's up to you, man. If you want to jump off the bridge, go jump off the bridge. No, if you have a good friend, he'll say, you got a lot to live for. Don't jump off the bridge. He may even grab you and pull you down so you can't jump off the bridge and call the police and get you off the bridge or something like that. But, a good friend's not going to let you in a moment of weakness jump off a bridge just because you want to. So it's one thing to just like go along with what people want and tell them it's okay and affirm them. And it's another thing to be a good friend to them when it comes to something like this. Now, if somebody wants to go eat at a restaurant I don't like and it's not going to kill them and I think the food's bad, go do what you want. That's not going to really hurt you if as long as it's, there's no other extenuating circumstances like diseases or whatever else. But if it's some really big decisions that's going to hurt them, am I going to give them that kind of advice? Now, with this new morality we've got here in the world or in the Western world, where marriage is redefined to allow men to marry men and women to marry women, then so now people who think that's wrong are considered immoral. People who speak out against that are considered immoral by those with this new progressive or whatever you call it set of sexual values. So. And then the TV gets on board, and the TV people tend to be left-leaning, and they want to promote it. They want to promote this idea. Well, after the gay marriage thing passed in the United States, and all the conservative pundits were complaining about this, were concerned about this, and it was going to, other people say this is a slippery slope argument, but it turned out to be true, that after gay marriage is legalized, what are they going to do? Legalize incest? What are they going to do? Legalize or are they going to promote this in schools with the children? Are we going to make the children, force the children to think this way? Then in California, you have in kindergarten, you have people coming in teaching 5-year-old kids that you can be a boy or a girl, that gender is basically in their mind, it's whatever you want to do, and you can your body will follow. Little kids, they could get a little confused, or maybe a little girl wants to be a boy, or maybe a boy wants to dress like a girl or something, and that's not something we should encourage. If a little boy wants to dress like a girl, because, hey, I guess, watercolors are fun. Why wouldn't makeup be fun? It's pretty similar. It's some kind of coloring thing. Some kid wants to color his face or whatever. Trying on clothes, maybe they think that's fun. Dressing up like a fireman's fun. Why wouldn't putting on a dress be fun? Well, you don't have to encourage that if a little kid thinks that way. I don't think putting on a dress is fun personally. Never really do it, but anyway. But the little kid, it's a toy. It's something, and maybe it's colorful or whatever. And little girls the same way. So if some kid is confused and doesn't know if he's a little boy or a little girl, or whether he wants to be a boy or he wants to be a little girl, or a little girl gets upset because daddy letting a boy go play something or whatever, and she says she wishes she was a boy, and she says that at school, the teacher shouldn't say, you can be a boy. Oh, let's support this. Let's go send you to the doctor and give you some shots. In some, I've read in Germany, there was a judge that allowed some little kid to, I may have ordered it, to get shots, or he may have supported parents to do this, or maybe he was opposing the parents, I forget the case anyway, but to get shots to stop puberty so the kid could be transgender. Now, we as a society, we need to have some decent common sense. You don't give kids shots to keep them from developing in puberty. I read actually there was one of these transgendered or whatever political type blogs or whatever, and or there was a discussion going on, and someone had a link, and I went to one of these blogs, and it had cited someone that said that if you give children shots to prevent puberty so they can be transgendered, it's good for their emotional health. So I clicked on the study, and it showed that it said that there was evidence that there was a reduction in aggression and stress that comes with the onset of puberty if they give little kids shots to keep them from going through puberty. Well, you could also, I mean, I suppose you could do a lot of things. What about baby teeth? I read this as an example online. What if you give somebody, what if you give a little kid shots so they don't lose their baby teeth? Just think of all the stress and pain that goes along with losing a tooth. Now, I've got kids, and when they lose that first little tooth, oh, that's a big deal. Imagine just all the stress. What a big deal that kid goes through. Having that tooth have to be pulled out, and it hurts, and then, of course, mommy or daddy want to say, hey, let me check the tooth. No, no, no. Or they want them to check the tooth or whatever, depending on the mood and depending on their prior experiences. And it's such a big deal, and there's bleeding. Ah, I'm bleeding. Ah. Oh, all the stress this kid goes through. Well, you could give the kid a shot and keep them from going through it, and then measure, possibly, if we invent the shot, then the child doesn't go through the agony of losing the tooth, the stress of losing the tooth. And you can measure, oh, the child is happier. The child doesn't go through this stress. The other child experienced more stress. You can put together a study. You could find some statistically significant results probably to support whatever you're saying. You can put it in a journal. But then we have to look at the big picture. Is it good for a child as an adult to not have gotten their adult teeth? Let's suppose, hypothetically, this is all hypothetical, that you could give a child a shot and then they don't ever grow their baby teeth. Then what happens to them when they don't have their baby teeth? Well, so you have a study and you show all the reduction of the benefits or the all the benefits of not losing their baby teeth. But then what happens when the kid gets to be 20 years old, or if they make it that long, 16 years old, with these little baby teeth? They're going to look goofy. They got little teeth in their mouth, and then they start rotting out, maybe causing some kind of infection. They don't have any teeth to replace it, and the baby teeth are not made for being used as adult teeth to stay in a big mouth like that. Okay, so it's not the way we're designed. It goes against biology to do this. It also goes against biology and the way we're designed and good sense and good ethics and good morals and medical ethics to give some little kid a shot to keep them from going through puberty. And what would be the agenda? What is the purpose? Are there I'm just was wondering when I read this blog that said that was healthy, or the study. Are there some gay men that like or some sort of, I don't know if it's gay or what you call it, but are there some sort of men that like boys that grow up all the way to adulthood without having gone through puberty? Why would you want to promote that? Maybe somebody has some particular interest in that. I find that, and then to sacrifice the kid and to entice them and encourage them in some sort of confusion in order so that there will be people that have had this procedure done to them, or medical suppression of puberty for some reason. Why would you want to promote that? Is there some prurient interest behind that? And whoever writes these articles and publishes these studies, why? Or is it just so that if someone is a transsexual, they want to promote that idea, or if they're homosexual, they want to promote the transsexual idea to create a sense of acceptance of their own situation? But the kids are the victims. Kids that are a little bit confused that 50 years ago their parents would have said, no, you're a boy, be a boy, or you're a girl, be a girl. Now we have all these voices telling to, encourage them in their confusion. Encourage them to think that they're the opposite gender. Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You just have to accept them. Instead of guide them, instead of talk some common sense into them. If a man has a bunch of shots and he develops female-looking characteristics, every bit of his DNA says that he's a man. And if a woman gets some shots or whatever to grow facial hair or whatever happens, she's still a woman who's had some shots. If they go through the full surgery, the guy that goes through the surgery, he's a eunuch, and he's had some work done to make him look like a woman, but he's a man. He's not a woman, even if he looks like a woman. It doesn't change. Now, suppose you're a guy. Imagine you're a guy. I don't know if you are or not. But imagine you're a guy, and then some crazy terrorist, psycho, whatever, kidnaps you and performs an operation on you and shoots you full of hormones for 6 months until you heal up, until you look exactly like a woman. Now, would you really be a woman? And vice versa. If you're a man, if you're a woman, and some psycho doctor kidnapped you, performed all these operations on you to make your body appear to be a man, would you really be a man? No, you wouldn't. And if you were really confused and thought you were a man, you're still not a man, even if you've had the surgery. It doesn't change who you are and how you're made, how you're created, and what you fundamentally are. So, anyway, back to Doctor Who. So now I'm thinking about in this scenario, these Gallifreyans or whatever, from this planet that Doctor Who's supposed to be from. Doctor Who in the original series, there was some reference to a granddaughter way back when in the early episodes that he had a granddaughter. I don't know if she really was or was pretending to be a granddaughter. They didn't really explore that. But so maybe he had been married. Um, Maybe he had children. He had grandchildren. Now let's consider this thing that way Doctor Who works. This TV show is Doctor Who is this alien from Gallifrey, and uh, whenever an actor gets stale, wants to go on and do something else, or doesn't get along well with a producer, or they want to shake things up a little bit, they can change actors. His race, if he gets shot with a blaster, or gets sick, or tired, or old, or whatever, they can regenerate into another actor. So that's so they kept the series. They kept the series going from the 60s until the late 80s or early 90s or whatever. And then they had like a 10 or 15-year hiatus, whatever it was, 10 years or whatever. And then they revived it, and they could just keep it going on and changing actors. Now, there was supposed to be 12 regenerations, and then they they got him to his 12th regeneration, and then they did an episode where really there was another regeneration that you didn't know about, another actor in the middle, and he's actually his 13th or whatever it was, I forget. But anyway, they've regenerated him past the normal time, and I forget what their explanation was for it. So anyway, he's this alien, and he regenerates, and he's always been a guy. And then now they've got with this transgender movement and everything, and the LGBT and everything, this and maybe women's rights. Who knows what the influences are? But they've regenerated him into a woman. So now think about his life. He has a granddaughter or whatever. Suppose so. What are they trying to say about these people on Gallifrey? You're a guy. You're married to a woman. Let's say if you regenerated and you turn into a woman, then you'd be a woman married to a woman. So what do they have, like no marriage or whatever? Are they a bunch of libertines or something like that? Just practically, if you're a guy and your wife turns into a guy, if you're a woman and your husband turns into a woman, that's rather, for the average person, I think that's kind of the idea of continuing on or doing certain things together is rather repulsive for most people. Okay, and but they're just trying to promote this idea that it's all the same. I don't know if they're really thinking it through. They just think they're being hip. But if you really think about it, it's kind of nasty. It's kind of gross. Um, Fortunately, Doctor Who, or the Doctor, is not married, I guess. Oh, wait a minute. He kind of was there for a while, but she died before they got married. And anyway, so he was kind of married there for a while. I don't know if they really lived as husband and wife or whatever. But yeah, so I guess at this point, he's not married. Um, Still, it's just weird. It's just gross. If you think about all these implications of their family life, and they had to reproduce to have more Gallifreyans, I suppose. So it's just nasty. So anyway, that's my concern with the Doctor Who transgender gender bender issue. Um, I'm sure maybe it's a good actress or whatever who's playing the role or whatever. I don't know. I don't really watch the show. I kind of stopped watching it when I saw that they were promoting the whole gender bender thing, and I haven't seen most of it anyway. It goes back to the 60s. Most people who are fans of it probably have not seen most of it anyway. Anyway, that's my comments on Doctor Who. Why I think this is just kind of all messed up that they turned Doctor Who into a dude. There were actually, I think, 3 female Time Lords, they call them, that were not on Gallifrey. Romana, Doctor Who's clone daughter, the Doctor's clone daughter, maybe his granddaughter. I can't remember who the third one was that I was thinking of. Yeah, the Ronnie, so that were of the same race they could have worked into the show, could have done spin-offs, without introducing all this gender bender stuff. They turned the Master, they called him, this Missy, made him into a woman. So they've been had this up their sleeve for a while, just trying to be weird, I guess. Anyway, those are my viewpoints. Thank you for watching.